All right. Are we going? We're probably going. We're probably going. We're probably going. Yeah, so here I am. I've been talking pretty big. Maybe people have been paying attention to what I'm saying. Or maybe they're not. Because no one will directly talk to me. No one directly talks to me. So, like, I have no idea, right? I overhear things, though. My hearing isn't that great. But I can hear when people are talking about me. Like, when I'm nearby. Like, and if I had better ears, I can maybe hear what they were saying, but I can't. Yeah. So I lost all my good stuff because I fell in lava. So I'm gonna have to make new good stuff. But I'm only level 10, so it's gonna and even with the good stuff, it takes a little bit of luck. So for now, we're gonna wait until I'm higher level. And so I need to I started the nether because I was desperate for nether quartz. But now I have to make a station, not a station, but I have to move it to the top, the ceiling. So it's safer, and I have access to the rest of the I can still get to the rest of the nether. So anyways, yeah, I overhear people when I go out in public. I can hear people like say stuff. But I'm never, like, they never say it directly to me. Never. It's always just like on the edges. So it's like, yeah, it can never be addressed. So I think that some people might mistake the way I talk for racism toward white people, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, that's the lava I died in. Let's move stuff a bit. Get a bucket. Silly me. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Oh, not this one. Now I need to. Yeah, I don't have any, so I have because I died with it all in my hand, or almost all of it. And look how slow this is. It's terrible. All right. So yeah, people might say, "Hey, Pogo Kiddo, you have a bias toward white people. Listen to what you say. Listen to all the stuff you say about white supremacy and the beginning of America being slavery and genocide. Like that sounds like anti-white bias. That's what it sounds like, right? So then my first question to you is, well, where does white come from? What country is white? And you're gonna find out that there is no country called white. There's no country called white. I need torches. There's no country called white. There's no white country. So how can I be biased towards white if it's not even real? Like, what country is it? What language they speak in white? That's the thing that a lot of like white Americans they reify the idea of whiteness. And so when I talk about this white supremacy and the history of white supremacy in the United States, some white people might get offended and like feel like they're being personally attacked. Like, oh, you're attacking my history. And But it's not about, it's not like necessarily your history, right? Like, I can tell you my history. I'm like a crazy melange of everything. I'm a mix. I guess you would call me a mutt. Like, not purebred, not at all. I'm a mutt. I'm half Filipino by blood, and then like a 25% French, and then 25% European mutt mix. I don't have any like genetic testing, but this is from my lineage. So like at most you can say I'm half white. Oh, and then but even though my biological father is Filipino, the man who raised me, the man who's my dad, he's Mexican. Or he was. He died. But yeah. So I'm like a half Asian, half white kid with a Mexican dad. So I have it's a pretty interesting perspective. Okay, I need torches. So like, I don't really fit into any group, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to like be like, hey, you gotta find a gang to get into. What gang? What racial gang do you belong to? And I'm like, none of them. I don't belong to any of them. Like, literally, I don't belong to any of them. But yeah, I heard this idea of yeah, oh, Pagokiro doesn't like white people. Dude, I'm half white. What are you talking about? Don't like white people. Like, people are people. They're each judged individually, right? Like, you don't, I mean, like, I guess the vogue now is to appraise people by their appearance. Like, people look at you and they appraise who you are by what you look like. But like with me, I shop at the Goodwill. I wear secondhand clothing, hand-me-downs, basically. Like, I have the Goodwill look. What does that make me look like? White, I guess. I look white. Wearing Goodwill clothing. So yeah, people say like, Pagokiro doesn't like white people. No, that's not it at all. White people can be awesome. Right? They're unique individuals that are not determined by their skin color. I mean, come on, come on. Haven't you been listening to anything? No. The question isn't, are you white? The question is, are you a white supremacist? Ah, you see the difference? Yeah, there's a difference. For sure. Now, people, even then, people might say, oh, well, that's like too controversial to talk about, Pagokiro. That's too crazy. Like, you're talking about all this history of white supremacy in the United States and how it explains the current conditions. That's crazy. That's crazy heavy. What are you doing? And I'm like, dude, have you not been paying attention? There's like a fascist takeover. There's a fucking coup. It was a coup. It was a judicial coup that the Supreme Court did. The Supreme Court invented words that are not in the Constitution and ignored words that are in the Constitution. Like, Why? To help a man who tried to a felon who tried to overthrow the government and who has worked with Vladimir Putin and who's going to end NATO and hand Ukraine over to Russia, and then most certainly would hand Taiwan to China. Most certainly, absolutely. You can't trust that guy at all. So like he's like a fascist dictator, dude. He's a fascist dictator in waiting. So that's pretty significant and important. He controls the Supreme Court. And that's pretty dangerous because they just gave him immunity from crime. Now we're a country that's based upon the rule of law. You can't say anyone's above the law. Like, so for the Supreme Court to be ruling that, oh yeah, this guy's above the law, you know shit's wrong. Shit's wrong. So if the words I say and the topics I bring are heavy, you should probably talk to me directly instead of talk behind my back or just out of earshot. Like, did I say something that confused you? Did I say something that made you feel uncomfortable? Let me know. Maybe we can work it out. Maybe you didn't understand it and like you took it the wrong way. Maybe I said something stupid. I don't know, and I will apologize if you make me aware of it. But that's the thing. It's communication. It's not so much who you are, it's your relationship to others. So yeah. Hello. This is Friday, the July 5th. There was a GOP candidate from North Carolina. He's running for governor, and he was talking about how some people have to die. Some people have to be killed. Some people ought to be killed. It's like, and he's a Trump supporter. You know, this is coming from the right wing. Like when I say they're Nazis, I'm not joking. And the guy who said it is black. So does that absolve him suddenly? No, because it doesn't matter who he is personally. It's his relationship. And he's aligned himself with fascists who want to commit violence. And you have already done so. They already did so. I see a popular meme is to say that Alex Baldwin killed more people than people at January 6th. And that's incorrect. Because January 6th killed at least 2 people. At least. Brian Sicknick, Officer Brian Sicknick, and then that one MAGA lady who got shot, Ashley Babbitt. So that's at least 2. And I know there's other people who died because they overdosed on drugs, or they had a heart attack, or whatever. So maybe you could argue that's not directly related to January 6th. But it's unlikely the person would have had a heart attack were they not in the middle of a giant fucking mob bent on overthrowing the government and attacking the Capitol. And yeah. So even so... But that's the funny thing, right? They're not really interested in truth. They don't really care what is the truth. They're more interested in scoring points. Like, yeah, I'm going to ignore the fact that they tried to overthrow the government. Instead, I'm going to quibble over numbers of how many people died. So I know a popular narrative in the MAGA is to say, oh, it wasn't an insurrection, it was a protest. And then they point to Black Lives Matters and see that's what it looks like when you're violently protesting. And then you gotta think, remember, Black Lives Matter was like 99% peaceful. The media blew up the parts that were violent because that's what's good for the media. Most of the violence came from the police. Remember, dude, they beat up like all these protesters or these journalists. That journalists got arrested, they got beaten up by the police, they got tear gassed. Like, Donald Trump wanted the military to shoot the protesters. It's not me saying it. It's his chief of, was it his chief of staff? No, Secretary of Defense. His Secretary of Defense said, somebody, like I have it written down and I'll do it on my show. But there's a guy giving an interview saying for sure Donald Trump wanted the military to shoot the protesters, shoot American citizens. So, like, so you know what's gonna happen if Donald Trump takes power and there's any protests. He's gonna have them shot and killed. He's gonna be like, because he's Hitler, dude. Everything Hitler did to gain power was legal. Did you know that? Hitler didn't have a revolution. He didn't have an insurrection. I mean, he tried, right? But then it failed. So he went to prison for 10 years. I don't think he even served the 10 years. He got out early. But yeah, then Hitler got elected. And then Hitler, once in office, Hitler passed a law to give himself more power. And another law to give himself more power. And another law to give himself more power. And then pretty soon he was Hitler, dude. He's a dictator. Just like Putin. So, just like Stalin. So, Donald Trump is no different. He wants the same thing. I don't know what to do, man. I mean, like, how can I talk to people who are MAGA? Like, they don't make any sense. Now, okay, the next argument they'll make. Well, look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden's old. And he's not all there. Man, neither is Donald Trump. Like, the fact that everyone's concentrating on Joe Biden's performance on the debate hides the fact that Donald Trump didn't answer any of the questions. And when he did, he lied. And he was never checked. At least not live. So like everyone's focused on Joe Biden. Dude, Donald Trump was like worse, because at least Joe Biden tried to have a good faith effort to have a discussion. Donald Trump was just using it as a platform to lie, to spread his lies. Because that's all Donald Trump has, are lies. He has to keep lying about the 2020 election. He had 60 chances to prove his case in court about fraud, and he never did. So if you want to throw away those 60 court cases, then what you're saying is that you don't really believe in the U.S. system of laws and justice. And at that point, yeah, of course you're an insurrectionist. You don't believe in America, right? You don't believe in the institutions of America or the laws of America. If you don't think Donald Trump had his chance to prove fraud and couldn't do it, then I don't know what to tell you. Because he had 60 chances, and he failed every one of those chances. Because you can't just will something into existence. Not everyone is the Supreme Court, where they just imagine words and put them and have them be more important than the Constitution. I mean, that's what they literally did. It's written clear as day in the Constitution that office holders are still subject to the law. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say immunity. Nowhere. Nowhere. That idea is absurd, that anybody would be immune from the law. Especially the guy who's supposed to uphold the law. So yeah, guys, yeah, this is a kind of important time. It's pretty crazy. I'm kind of sad that no one wants to talk to me directly about stuff. Like, the last chance I had at that was at the pro-Palestine peace rally. Well, peace rally. It was a rally to stop the ceasefire, calling for a ceasefire. How do I know this? Because that's what they were chanting. Palestinian, and how do we know it? Because Palestinian people are saying it. So it's not like we are imposing our own ideas of what's going on. Like, we're listening to what the Palestinian people want. They want a ceasefire. They want Israel to stop killing them en masse every day and starving them, destroying. They pretty much don't have a city anymore. There's like nothing there. Like, the city has been razed, just leveled. Like, Because why? Because Israel wants all the Palestinian people to leave. You know, if they still have buildings, then they're going to stay because they're still a city. But if you destroy all the buildings, then the people have nowhere to go. They can't just stay in the desert. They have to go somewhere. And so Israel's hoping that they can disperse the Palestinian people into the other Arab nations. They're even trying to pay Arab nations to take the Palestinians. That's how bad it is. So, like, that's an example, I guess, of privilege. Of white privilege. Because at the protest, like, we have a protest, you know, part of the reason people protest is to spread awareness and understanding about what's going on. Right. So, but what happened was the opposite. This guy, this white guy, came up and tried to tell us what it was about. Like, he kept asking, what's this about? Well, what do you mean? Listen to what we're saying over and over and over again. And if that's not clear, then you can ask about that. Instead, what this guy wanted to do was to impose his own vision about what's going on. He tuned out what the protesters were saying, and he wanted to swoop in with his own idea about the way things are. Not even listening to what was being said. So, like, that's my problem. Like, if we're gonna have a discussion, it's got to be two-way. You can't just impose yourself on top of people who have, like, a lived experience of it. Ooh, shitty. I don't want to die. So yeah, so a debate is supposed to be between two people who recognize each other as equals and who respect each other and are going to use reason. That's the point of debate, right? To use reason and rhetoric to convey your points, your ideas, and to defend them against logical critiques. But what happened with the Biden-Trump debate was that Trump was doing a technique called the Gish Gallop, which is a bad faith technique. The Gish Gallop was created by a guy, I forget his name, but his last name is Gish. And at the debate that he was at, instead of doing the typical debate thing when you, like, articulate your point and then defend it, he layered numbers of claims on top of each other. Claim after claim after claim. So much so that it was impossible for his challenger to rebut all of his statements. So he could have slipped in there any crazy thing he wanted, but because he said so many of them, his opponent was, like, flailing to try to discredit all of them. There was just too many to discredit at once. And remember, it's a lot easier to imagine bullshit than it is to speak the truth. Like, if you're bullshitting, you can flow forever. Because anything you say goes, right? But when you're telling the truth, not anything you say goes. So you have to be... It's a lot different when you're telling the truth. And Donald Trump was not at all interested in telling the truth. He was interested in pushing his false narrative. Remember, it's false because he had every opportunity to prove it, and he failed at every time. And so even though he's still saying it now, because there are people who are stupid and they don't understand they're charmed by him, I guess you could say. It's like he's a magic user, and he's charmed them so that it doesn't register for them that the guy is a fake, because they're charmed. So yeah, they're gonna say Joe Biden's old. We can all see his slowness. No, you saw an old guy get overwhelmed by something called the Gish Gallop. And because Donald Trump was so polished in his lies, like, he looked good in comparison to Joe Biden, struggling to pick one of the many things Donald Trump said that was a lie, and then adequately explain it. Plus, his fucking voice was all messed up. Now, that's not the only time I've listened to Joe Biden, and his voice has been very, very soft. He often whispers. He often uses a soft voice now. The old Joe Biden had like a big booming voice. The old Joe Biden, the young Joe Biden had a big booming voice. But this guy now, like, he doesn't have it anymore. The big booming voice. Now, I'm not saying that's important. I mean, is that important? Does a president necessarily need a big booming voice? No, dude. He needs to be able to do his job well. And Joe Biden has done that. He's done the job well. Did he salute any foreign generals? No. Did he get love letters from any foreign dictators? No. Did he collude with our greatest enemy, Russia? No. So like, he's done a good job. The stock market's pretty high if you put any faith in that. Like, yeah, inflation sucks, right? But that was something before Joe Biden came, and it's global. It's a symptom of the fucked up capitalist system. Like, oh my God, we have so much wealth concentration. It's ridiculous. But yeah. So what you have essentially is a con man who looks and sounds really polished, because con men really work on their pitch, right? To trick people, they have to be really good talkers. So Donald Trump is number one a con man. Joe Biden is a fucking bureaucrat, dude. Joe Biden is I wouldn't say a bureaucrat, but like, he's wonky, dude. He just gets his proposals, I don't know. It's like he just gets shit done. Whereas Donald Trump, the only thing that got done was a tax break for the rich people. The 2018 tax break. And when you look at the economic function of that tax break, it didn't do anything. It hardly did anything to change the economy. But when you look at what the Democrats did under Biden the first 2 years, they passed the CHIPS Act, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, they got insulin down to $35 a month, they canceled a shit ton of student loans. Like, that had a major impact on our economy in terms of investment, business investment. So yeah, Biden, even though Biden's not made for TV, Biden as a president is pretty fucking good. I mean, yeah, he fucked up with Gaza, for sure. For sure he fucked up with Gaza. But that's that's something for another time. Because we already know that Donald Trump would do worse for Gaza. Like, Biden gives Bibi Netanyahu cover to do the genocide, but Donald Trump would be actively engaged in the genocide. Hell, he'd probably even do it here. Like, he's planning on it, right? He's planning on opening concentration camps. Like, he's gonna be a dictator on the first day. Like, we know this, right? We know this. Yeah, I'd rather have boring ass Biden quietly working away in the Oval Office, getting shit done, than bombastic, lying Donald Trump, who's can't get anything fucking done. He didn't pass anything with his trifecta. He didn't do shit. You just compare the two. Joe Biden's first 2 years and Donald Trump's first 2 years. Who got more done? Joe Biden got way more done than Donald Trump. The first 2 years is great, a great metric, because the first 2 years of Trump, there was no COVID, There was no nothing. It was just Donald Trump and the Republican House and Republican Senate. That was it. That was the only thing it was. And then Joe Biden, yeah, you just, like, you're coming off of the insurrection and you're coming off of COVID. So it's not quite the same. But even given even given that, Biden came out ahead in terms of productivity. Biden's just the better president, man. It's not about who looks good on TV. It's about who's the better president. So, I don't know. Maybe he is too old to run, and then he drops out fine. I don't care. I'll vote for anybody else the Democrats put up. Because I'm not going to vote for RFK Jr. Like, that guy's crazy. And I'm never going to vote for Trump because I want democracy. So if Kamala Harris becomes the nominee, fine. If some other person becomes the nominee, fine. I don't care. I'm not voting for RFK Jr. and I'm not voting for Donald Trump. But I think Biden's okay as a president. I mean, yeah, we got Reagan to think about. Reagan was a shitty president. But then understand, see how that works? You see how it worked with Reagan? Even though Reagan was like a shit president, like toward the end of his term, the guy had Alzheimer's. The guy was actively president while he had Alzheimer's. What does that mean? But the country ran. What does that mean? It meant his staff. The staff and his, pretty much kept the ship running. So when you vote for a president, you're not just voting for the president, you're also voting for that president's staff. And again, who got more shit done? The Democrats. The only thing we got with what's his face, with the Republicans, yeah, was a tax cut. And then after the tax cut, all they did was try to impeach people. They didn't do shit. They went through how many speakers of the houses? Like 3 or 4? Like, if they wanted to, Democrats could have cost Mike Johnson his job. The only reason why Mike Johnson has a job right now is because the Democrats saved him. So France right now is going through some shit. In France, they have a political crisis. Macron, the president, called for snap elections. I guess they had elections in the EU, and the right wing got like some seats, and that caused Macron to panic. I guess, I don't know. He called for snap elections, which I get they can do in France. The president can call elections whenever. And then it's not like it is here with the Senate and stuff. I'm not exactly sure how it works over there, but they do multiple rounds of voting, not just one, but a couple rounds. So the thing is that the left wing, so the right wing, the Nazis, the Nazi party, I mean, they're fascists. I wouldn't call them Nazis. They're fascists. I mean, the fascist parties are gaining strength in France. So, in order to make sure that the fascists don't win, all the left parties are teaming up and saying that if we get into 3rd place, we won't run anymore in the runoff, because if you get multiple people running for the same position, you can split their vote and then accidentally give the vote to the worst guy possible. So they haven't done instant runoff voting, I guess, in France, but they have a kind of runoff election. Anyways, so yeah, they're teaming up to make sure that the Nazis don't gain power. And I think something similar is happening here in the United States. Like, pretty much all the liberals and leftists and whatever, the left people, are like banding together. And I think we should band together under Biden. As long as Biden wants to run, the guy's an incumbent. Like, you don't, like, people who are incumbents have a lot more advantage than people who are not incumbents. So I think just for the incumbency advantage, we should stick with Biden. As long as he's capable. And he says he's capable. And like his performance in when he had control of the House and Senate is pretty good. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you. I mean, maybe it's different now because he's getting older. It's 4 years later. But if he says he can do it, then yeah, he really messed up with Palestine. I guess that's like his age showing. Okay. Now, how am I gonna? I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna climb up to the top. It's scary nether. I'm pretty high up as it is already. But I didn't have very far to go up. Alright. Okay, and now I gotta figure out where do I want... I guess right here. Just go over here more. I mean, this is all gonna be temporary anyways, right? Okay. Okay, we light this, but we don't go through yet. Instead, we go destroy the gate down there. Yeah. So if you're white and like this seems uncomfortable and you want question why am I bringing it up, look at where we are as a country. We're about like the Supreme Court just said that America has kings when we've never had kings. We fought a revolutionary war to get away from kings. Sure, let's have a conversation. It's way better to do that than to like misunderstand each other. Don't want to misunderstand each other. Hehehe. Now this is the only way. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, now can I go back? Ha 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 ha. Okay. Reconnected. I love this addition of lava, renewable lava. Man, I would spend so much time trying to dig up coal just to keep smelting shit and cooking food. Like, I spent so much time. It was ridiculous. So much time. All right. That wasn't so bad. Beat is on. Beat is on. Yeah. Beat is on. It's muy importante this time period. Man, I can feel, like, yeah, there's tension out there, I guess. Tension. Tension. Tense. Yeah, the idea of whiteness, man. People get caught up on that. slow to do crops. Okay, I think that's it for now. That's like 45 minutes, man. Come on. Get at least an hour in. What do I need to do? I need experience points. I can turn this zombie farm into like an experience farm, but it's not going to be very efficient. I mean, I should just make a, what's it called? I should just make a mob farm. That's like the easiest way of getting experience points. It takes a little while, but that's alright. Where am I gonna make the mob farm? Like right here. Just like boom, in the sky. In the sky, in the sky. All right, that's fine. I don't know. I have nothing else. If I think of something, I'll talk about it. All right, peace out. Stop.